All right, welcome to another edition of Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. Love talking football, and here we are, a victory week. First home win. So many exciting things happening on Sunday. It's good to be a Bucs fan right now, and I'm joined tonight by my esteemed colleagues. I'm going to start with Michael Pless, writer for Real Bucs Talk. Michael, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and what kind of articles or things you're working on right now.
Yeah, you can reach us at a real blog at covering the Buccaneers every day, and love talking. Hit us up on Twitter. Now we're just breaking down the Bears game. We got a couple articles out there now. Talking are just picking. And then later this week, we're going to have more on the Kansas City Chiefs, which is going to be, I think, a very interesting game for us.
Awesome. And Terra was on with me last week. I liked her so much, I had to have her back. Terra, welcome to the podcast. And tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
All right. Yeah, I'm Terra. I've been a Bucs fan since birth, which is about 20 years now. You can get a hold of me at on Twitter mainly. That's the platform I like the most. It's TERRALSP. And right now my handle is Derek Carr is Christ. And we touched on this last week. I lost a bet to one of my friends who's a Raiders fan, and I have to keep that my handle, and my profile picture is me in a Jamarcus Russell jersey. And so I have to keep that like that until the Raiders lose. And unfortunately, they were on bye this week, so I didn't know that they didn't have their bye yet. I have to wait another week.
It's a Bucs life.
Yes, that's been my favorite slogan so far from the Bucs because it's applicable to any situation.
Exactly.
It's a Bucs life.
All right, so let's jump right into this. You know, the Bucs won their home game, first home game of the season. How exciting is that? And, it was a team, the Chicago Bears, who were coming off of a big win against the Minnesota Vikings. So, there was a lot of question, what Bears team is going to show up? You had Jay Cutler coming off of the thumb injury. So, it's like, which Jay Cutler is going to show up? And we got to answer to that real quick. So, Terra, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts? Give me your overview of the game, of what you saw, and what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, we got the favorable Jay Cutler. We got the Jay Cutler you'd want to see. If Chris Conte gets an interception and a pick six, no less, the quarterback's having a bad day. So, the defense looked great. The defense has looked great against teams they should look great against, like the 49ers and now the Bears. So that's a good sign moving forward. That means they know how to play against teams they should beat normally. The Rams are kind of the exception to the rule, but Jeff Fisher is also 9-0 against us, so that's kind of weird, a situation all around. But when it comes to the Bears, I saw the defense standing out. The turnover margin was great. We didn't have many turnovers on offense, which helped with that. And so that was very helpful. The offense looked good too. Jameis Winston eluding the entire Bears defense to hit Mike Evans at midfield. That's one of the plays that will stay with me for a very long time. So it was just an overall good showing by the Bucs, and it's been a while since we've had a game like that. The 49ers was pretty close, but I would rank this game higher than our game against the 49ers.
Yes, and because it was a home game.
Exactly. We got the fans what they wanted right there.
That's right. And Michael, I want you to chime in on this.
I'm just going to say we finally won Raymond James. Like, it's about damn time. I mean, come on. Just to finally win a home game. I'm born and raised in Tampa, so I'm right here in the local crowd. So it feels amazing to finally get that home win that we needed. But yeah, I mean, Tara's right. I mean, the defense finally played, how they should play. Cutler made him, force some throws into coverage, and we took advantage. I thought Noah Spence was one of the standouts of this game. He was, constantly in the backfield making plays. That sack fumble that he got, that was critical because the Bears are about to score there. If they put up points, who knows what happens. But like I said earlier, the defense, they changed their scheme a little bit. They went to a more aggressive style where they had linebacker blitzes like Terra mentioned last week, which, was right on the money. So we played more press man coverage, which was great to see. And it worked out to our benefit. And then offensively, I thought Jameis, especially in the second half, he just took over the game.
Yeah.
He showed us everything that we were looking for as far as a quarterback. He was throwing receivers open, making plays with his feet. I mean, pretty much everything you want to see out of your franchise quarterback. So that was pretty exciting to see, and it was a great win for our team.
Yeah, absolutely. Jameis Winston looked totally different than he did against the Atlanta Falcons, and even the week before that, where you saw Jameis Winston more worried about turning the ball over. He was worried about protecting the ball, and all the plays that he made did not look natural. So just seeing Jameis Winston playing how he's supposed to play, this is the guy that we drafted to do what he's doing. So it was really exciting to see that from him. And, Mike Evans making plays. I was really excited about that as well. I think that he's gotten past the issues that he had last season with the drops. I feel like his cohesion with Jameis Winston has really helped him to put him in the 5th position in wide receivers in the league. So, I think that, all that hard work is paying off. Cameron Brate, another guy that he showed up, he caught balls that he needed to catch, and, he really helped extend plays for first downs, and that's what we really needed. And I thought that, I thought he did excellent. And, I'm glad another player that really didn't get mentioned a whole lot is Clint McDonald. I felt like Clint McDonald is a welcome presence back on that defensive line. And, now you have everybody pretty much healthy with the exception of Jacques Smith. I feel like this team, this defense, if they can gel, I feel like they can really make some moves, make some noise, and getting pressure on the quarterbacks in weeks to come.
Yeah, and I think what's helped this defense is there's healthiness on it. I think it's been a while since the Bucs have really had a healthy defense, and we have that right now. McCoy has his issues, but otherwise, we are pretty healthy on the defense side. Offense, it's a bit concerning, especially with the center. But defense, we're pretty healthy, and so that's helped gel and made everything smoother for them, I think. And just to piggyback off a little bit about Brate, I think it's very important for a young quarterback to have a good tight end because that's your safety. That's where you can just dump the ball off or hit that 5-yard route, and hopefully he'll be there to catch it. And Brate is one of those tight ends that is going to be there to catch it. So I'm excited about Brate. I mean, I was sad ASJ had his problems, but I'm really excited about Brate.
And, interesting that you say that. I'm glad you segued into that because if you consider last year, if ASJ hadn't gotten hurt, I don't think we pick up Cameron Brate off of the practice squad. So this all worked out real good, and I'm glad to have him. I think that the connection that he has with Jameis Winston has been really good. And, another you mentioned the center position. It looks like Joe Hawley is in limited practice, so that's a plus right there. So I just thought I'd throw that out there as well. So, Michael, I want to kind of jump back to you a little bit. And anybody else that you saw that kind of stood out for you, players or certain plays that may have changed the game around?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to Noah Spence. I thought, again, that strip fumble was a really big play. All the defense as far as they played, I mean, they pretty much shut down the Bears offense in the second half. I think they only gave up about in the second half minus the, garbage time that they had on the last drive there. So, I mean, they were just outstanding in the second half. They really played. I thought Mike Smith did a great job of going back to what his team's strengths are, and that's being aggressive, allowing them to play, fast and downhill, allowing Levante David and Quan Alexander to get after the quarterback and just make plays in the backfield. And I thought they did that pretty much consistently. Defensive line, I thought Robert Ayers was pretty good. I mean, he had that big safety, in the back of the end zone there, so that was good. Rushed more from the inside, which was nice to see him and McCoy pretty much making havoc. Another standout was probably Ryan Russell, who was one of our newest pickups last week. Promoted him from the practice squad. He's pretty much going to be taking over Howard Jones' spot, who's out for the year. So, I mean, he had 2 hits on the quarterback last week, so he's another guy to watch for. But overall, I was really impressed with how the defense played. I thought, we had our struggles on the offensive line. I thought both tackles probably played their worst games. I wasn't impressed with DeMar Dotson. I thought he was pretty subpar, to say the least. That stepped in, the left guard and the center, I thought they did a pretty good job, being it's their first NFL game. So, yeah, I mean, kudos to the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And Terra, you want to jump in here?
I agree completely with DeMar Dotson. Any kind of offensive line penalty that came out of the game, it seemed like it came from DeMar Dotson. So I was a bit disappointed in him. And I think we had a nice stretch of lack of offensive line penalties this season so far. It's been a huge problem for the Bucs in the past years. I know it's one of those things where no matter where the flag is on the field, I always thought it was going to be on our offensive line. They may have even been off the field, and I thought it was going to be on our offensive line. So it's been a good improvement to see this season, and then DeMar Dotson kind of slipped up. So it'll be interesting to see if he bounces back against the Chiefs. But, yeah, that was a tough one. Just like I was like, oh, okay, we're slipping back into this. We can't let us fall back into it, slide back into it, though. Got to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, and the key right now when you talk about Kansas City, I'm not going to jump ahead too soon, but with Kansas City, you have to be on cue. You have to be on point. You have to be playing where you're supposed to be playing because Kansas City, the Arrowhead is not a place that you want to get behind at. I can tell you that. But, going back to the Chicago Bears game, I know you hear some fans talk about, oh, well, it was Chicago you beat. You know what? Any given Sunday, any team you saw that with the Chicago Bears beating the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings were supposed to walk in and win that game, and they didn't. You had a Jay Cutler who was playing out of his mind. You had a running game that actually worked. And I was happy with the way Tampa was able to handle that offense, have that bend but don't break mentality, and holding that running back. What's his name? Foster? Is that? Yeah.
Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Aaron Foster. Jordan Howard, just being able to stop him at 89 yards rushing is important, because he got big plays, but he didn't really hurt your team, hurt your defense to where it put your defense in a bad position. So I was real happy with the way Tampa played, and I thought the defense, they get a lot of credit for this because they were able to get the ball to Jameis, and Jameis was able to do what he does. Once they got that lead, then the defense is able to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback.
Yeah, no, just to jump on that a little, I know in the past, the Bucs defense, the mentality, the saying around the defense is bend, don't break, like you said. Well, that only works if you're able to produce a turnover at the end of the drive. Bending and not breaking can often lead to 80-yard drives that lead to a touchdown. And the defense was able to produce those turnovers that you need for a defense like that. So it was a great showing with that all around. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah, most definitely. And another guy that, we really haven't talked about is our punter, Brian Anger. I thought that all season long he's been money. He's been pinning teams back where, but beyond the 20, and I thought that, his kicks have not put the Bucs in a bad position. And I felt like that, our special teams actually did good this week in, preventing the big play. So, it's something to really be excited about and working towards with this Kansas City Chiefs team coming up. So, any other thoughts before we move on to the upcoming game with the Kansas City Chiefs? Anybody have any thoughts on the Chicago Bears game? Final thoughts?
It was just a good game.
Yeah. Good win.
It's a win.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll take that. Yeah. We'll take that W. All right. So upcoming game is the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. And we will be facing Alex Smith, the quarterback. And any thoughts on Alex Smith, having watched him? Michael, I'm going to go with you. You've breaking down film. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's quarterback for sure. He loves to get the ball out quickly. Very precise and short routes and intermediate routes, accurate with those kind of passes. Downfield, no. Yeah, I mean, you want to make him throw the ball downfield because he doesn't have the arm strength, not very accurate down the field. Um, Tendency once he gets pressure in his face, he has a tendency to look down and start to run. He's not a quarterback that's going to keep his eyes downfield at the very last second to deliver the football. Very rhythmic passer, so it's 1, 2, 3 and out. So I think the Bucs need to look for that as far as he's going to try to get out quickly. A lot of screens, a lot of short slants. So, but he's 17-2 though. The last 19 games, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you feel like, based on what you saw, if Alex Smith is getting hit, does that affect his game?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a quarterback that can get a little gun shy back there, especially if you start hitting him ball even faster, and usually that tends to lead to mistakes. But he likes to run the ball if he gets any kind of pressure. I mean, he's going to tuck that ball down and try to go. Doesn't do a great job of keeping his head downfield.
I see. All right. So what about the running game? We saw where the running back for the Chicago Bears ended up with 89 yards rushing. Who are we supposed to be looking for as far as with the Kansas City Chiefs? Who's their running back? Who is their threat on the ground game?
I mean, it would be they have a couple guys. I mean, Spencer Ware is probably their most talented back. He's their main guy. They mix in Chardrick West as well. So both of those guys are pretty good. They also have Bishop Sankey. I forget the other. I think Niles Davis is not on the team anymore. But they have a few guys that they mix in. But Spencer Ware is probably the most dangerous. Really strong power back. Catch the ball out of the backfield. So I mean, our tackling is going to have to be on point because he can break some tackles if you try to just get him with one arm.
All right. And I was looking, and let me just go through the injury report. This is just for the 16th. I'm sure this will change and ruin my office pool. So it looks like we have DJ Alexander, who had full practice finally. Tamba Hali did not participate with that knee injury. Justin Houston, full practice coming off of a knee injury. Derek Johnson didn't participate with that hamstring injury, so we don't know where he is with that. Jeremy Macklin, the groin injury, didn't participate. And Dontari Poe, the defensive tackle, didn't participate as well with that knee injury. Oh, and Marcus Peters, the cornerback, who has that hip injury, didn't participate as well. So it looks like the Chiefs are dealing with injuries just like the Bucs have. So far for the 16th, Joe Hawley was in limited practice. Kevin Pamfield was in full practice. He did go ahead and pass that concussion protocol. Jacquez Smith, foot injuries, still didn't participate. Russell Shepard is coming back to where he was in full practice. Evan Smith didn't participate. And Luke Stalker, who had that injury earlier on in the year, didn't participate because of an ankle injury. So I don't know if it's the same ankle, but it is another ankle injury. So we can hope for the best. I was really to contribute to that Bucs win as well. So Terra, you're very quiet over there.
I was letting him break down. He saw the film on the Chiefs. I was going to give him
that. Well, I don't want you to feel left out. So what are your keys? Give me your 5 keys to the Bucs victory on Sunday.
All right. Well, based off of what Michael said, I'm going to go opposite of what I said against the Bears when it comes to the defense. Blitz less. lay back in coverage and try to get those screens out of the way, because we have been killed by screens before. Screens are something this defense has issues with in the past. So if you're blitzing, you're taking away from that like 5 to 10 yard crucial range that you need to be able to tackle in screens, especially since Alex Smith doesn't have the arm power to go down the field. So you need to be covering those first 5 to 15 yards, because that's where Alex Smith will attack. So the defense blitz less. I mean, I feel like we'll be able to get enough pressure on him without sending too many men. I don't think that offensive line is that strong, but that's definitely one of the keys. Second key is run the ball. Get Doug Martin going, because he wasn't able to get going that much against the Bears, especially early on. And the Kansas City Chiefs have one of the worst run defenses in the league, allowing about 120 yards per game. So if Doug can get going early, that will definitely help and set up play action and all the cliche stuff you say because you have a good running game going. So I think those are the two main things, blitz less and run the ball. So that will definitely help. Also, watch out for Marcus Peters. I think he's going to play, and that's going to be an issue for Jameis, because Jameis kind of still has an issue of eyeing down his wide receivers, and Peters will jump on that. He already has 5 interceptions. So if you can watch out for Peters, blitz less and run the ball, I think that will be a great game plan for the Bucs.
All right. I like that. Mike, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, she's right on the money there. You got to get pressure with the front four. I think we'll be able to blitz a little bit. I think you can mix up your blitzes though. Make sure you call rushers for the audience. That's basically where you send in some linebackers, but you drop the D ends out for that quick slant. Put it up a little bit there, but yeah, I definitely think our front four should be able to generate some pressure. I think Noah Spence and Robert Ayers definitely have an advantage going up against their tackles. I think the number one key, I think City is so great at taking the ball away. They're number one, I think, in turnovers. They have like 20 takeaways. So I think protect the football, kind of play similar to how we played against Carolina, where we played more of a conservative offense, run the ball, pound that rock, control the clock, plays when we have them there. When they come available, because they will be available. We just got to protect the football. I think that's number one key. Watching the Chiefs the last couple of weeks, they've won basically off the turnovers that they gotten. I mean, last week, Carolina should have won that game. Eric Berry gets a pick six, game's over. The Jaguars should have beat them two weeks ago. They had them pretty much beat down, and they turned the ball over. They had a bad call at the goal line. Should have been a touchdown. The refs gave the ball to Kansas City, and they lost. I think number one key is just turnovers. We got to protect the football. Try to force Alex Smith into some bad decisions by getting guys in his face. Like I said earlier, if you get guys in his face, he's going to take that ball and run. Just doesn't hang in the pocket long enough. But yeah, I mean, Tara's right. Guard those screens and guard the slants.
Yeah. And guys, I'm going to say, I know we talked about cliches, and I'm getting ready to throw a few out there myself. But Jameis has to take what the defense gives him. He can't be going for the home run ball all the time. Mm-hmm. He needs to be able to check down and, it just extend the play, continue to extend the play, take time off the clock, and, just march down the field. We've seen him do it. So we know that Jameis is capable of making this happen. Now, that's my number one key. Number two is turnovers. Cannot turn the ball over against Kansas City at all. And with turnovers, which we've seen with Jameis, have ended up hurting the Bucs, especially on defense, because it puts them in a bad situation where they have to fight a little bit harder, stay on the field a little bit longer. And, that really hurts as the game goes on. You want your defense as fresh as possible going into the fourth quarter. So turnovers are key. And making sure that your defense is playing in their assignments and not trying to do too much to give up big plays. And that's my third thing, is not giving up the big play. And another thing is the special teams. Special teams can't have mistakes on special teams, because you got a kick returner that can take it to the house. And that's something to really worry about, is just to make sure that you're playing in your assignment, you're doing what you're supposed to. And lastly, I want to talk about the back-breaking penalties. We saw penalties in this game. Fortunately, the Bucs were able to overcome that, but the Bucs are still evolving as an organization to get away from all the losing that we've seen with the coaching turnovers and the GM turnovers. So I don't believe that the Bucs are in a position where they're going to be able to just overcome penalties every game that they play. There are going to be games where you have to play smart, you have to play within yourself and not give up the big play and not give up those penalties. So to me, penalties are key. We saw that with DeMar Dotson. I believe the Bucs could have put up even more points on the board had it not been for some of those penalties at the times that they occurred. So again, they're not as bad as they were last year. We're getting away from that again. I do believe that Tampa is trending in the right direction. 4 wins. We have 2 wins to go to equal last year's record, and anything after that is gravy. So to me, I believe that this Kansas City Chiefs game is a winnable game, and I feel like if Tampa does all the right things, they can walk out of Arrowhead with the win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's going to be hard to do so because it is Arrowhead, but it's especially when it comes to the turnover aspect, because Winston has calmed down. He had issues at the beginning of the season, and then you could see him trying to compensate for those issues as the games progressed, and I think you alluded to that or even mentioned it earlier. So if he gets rattled, though, by these fans, by the noise, by not being able to get his play calls off the way he wants to, that could bring up these issues again. So that's going to be a huge factor when it comes to those rush decisions, those poor passes, those ones that you're like, what are you thinking, man? Throwing it deep into triple coverage, that is not what you're supposed to do on that play. I can almost guarantee it. And so it could cause more of those things to happen. And so that's going to be a huge issue going into this game, because I feel we could see a bit of a digression from Jameis. If that digression doesn't happen, we have a chance to win. But I think that digression might happen because we are in such a hostile environment in Arrowhead.
I'm going to go on record having seen Jameis play in college and how he steps up for the big games. Having seen Jameis play in the pros and stepping up for certain games, I don't believe that that's going to be an issue. I think he'll be fine with that. I believe he's matured. I feel like he's finally found that happy medium where he can make plays without hurting the team. So I for one, I know I sound like a homer, which I am. I'm a Bucs fan. There's a Bucs show. I feel like that he's gonna overcome that and he's gonna be just fine. Another thing is just again finding your open check downs. Whoever's open, you're getting the ball to him. But go ahead, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I was just going to elaborate on your points earlier. I think that is critical. The check downs because the Chiefs are going to give you, that 6 to 8 yards. It's going to be there, especially to, in the flats and the tight end. I've been watching, that's definitely open. So I think that is what Jameis needs to do. Get his backs involved early in the passing game, get it to Cameron Brate and get it to his other receivers early in the game. That's definitely going to open things up. But I think we have to be able to run the ball. Terra said they're giving up over 120 yards. We got to take advantage of that. I think Doug Martin's going to be fresh. I think he's going to be back to 100% this week. So I think he's going to have a chance to have a big game. So we got to utilize that. I think you're going to see a lot of what we used to call, John Gruden used to say, you personnel. If anybody doesn't know what that is, that's 2 tight ends, 1 receiver, 2 backs. And I think we got to utilize that formation a lot. That or the 3 tight end set where we get a little heavy, put Mike Evans, let him operate, one-on-one. So especially with the Kansas City's pass rush, they have a lot of good pass rushers. D Ford is a beast. He's got 10 sacks this year. Justin Houston looks like he's going to come back this week. So we got to be able to max protect, give Jameis some time, and utilize, those short routes and utilize our check downs for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. That's going to be key right there. Just kind of reverting back to the game last week. We haven't talked enough about the secondary. I really like how played last week, And I think a lot of that was predicated on the pass rush, making Cutler uncomfortable and giving our cornerbacks and our secondary as a whole a chance to stay in the play. And I think that's what we've been missing in the past. And hopefully we can get the front four, as you mentioned, which is a valid point. If you've got your front four rushing and they're getting pressure on the quarterback, that gives your linebackers and your secondary a chance to make plays as well, where they're not focused on, possibly a busted coverage or something like that happening. So I really do believe that, if they can take what they've done last week and bring it into Arrowhead, I think that they do, again, have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to get a win in the AFC West. It'd be nice. The Chargers might be the product of it, but one win out of the AFC West would be good.
Yeah, you are a good luck charm going to San Diego, right?
Oh, yeah, that's where I'm headed. I mean, it worked great here in Phoenix. Worked perfectly to plan. So we'll see if we can try that again.
All right. So, guys, anything else? Any other thoughts on this Chiefs game? I mean, anything that stands out to you, worries you, or I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, they are the weirdest 7-2 team. Feast off of turnovers. That's pretty much their bread and butter. They're not overly special on offense. They don't have any big-time playmakers. It looks like Jeremy Macklin's probably going to be out again this week, which helps. Who's a guy that can cause some matchup problems, but I think our corners can lock him down. I think we're going to press man again, get up at the line of scrimmage, make sure these guys get disrupted in that short route passing game. Travis Kelce, their tight end, is really good. He's a big target, so he's probably the most guy I would be worried about, especially from an offensive standpoint. 6'7", 260, so he could be a handful. We're going to have to match up with him. But again, I think it all comes back to pressure. Just get pressure on Alex Smith. He's going to make mistakes. Like I said, he doesn't like pressure in his face. And then, defensively, they have playmakers in the secondary for sure. They have a lot of guys that can match up one-on-one. They like to rotate their safeties in. Sorensen and Parker are guys that can play like corners. So, again, it's going to be a matchup. It's going to come down to our offense pretty much. I think if our offense can put up, 20 to 25 chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, it goes back to what I was saying, the penalties and the turnovers. If the Bucs play turnover free and they can get good production out of their running game, this is a winnable game. Now, and I talked about earlier on in the podcast, we talk about where Tampa is right now. Tampa is a 4-win team. And there were a couple of games they could have won. But just imagine this. We are, and this is about the same time where it's a little bit earlier, but this is about the time where Quan went out. But Tampa has a chance to surpass what their record was last year. And, you look at the schedule, and I know a lot of people are saying, oh, man, this is a rough schedule, but a lot of these games are winnable games if Tampa plays smart, if they can get the running game going and, they cut down on the turnovers and penalties.
I agree. I think you take one against the Saints. We are always play them close. For some reason, we're able to play the Saints close. Even with Drew Brees at the helm, it always surprises me how close those games are. So I think we get one against the Saints. I didn't get to watch the Panthers game, so I don't know how we matched up well. Derek Anderson started that game, correct?
Yeah, he did.
And he had been beating us the previous years whenever he started. So, it was nice to get the win there. So I think you can get one from the Saints. The Chargers are a better team than their record. I think they're the opposite of the Chiefs. The Chargers have stupid mistakes at the end of the games that lose them the game. So they're better than their record reflects in my mind. But they're also stupid mistakes are our forte usually. So if we let them do the stupid mistakes and not us, then that should be good. Should be good. So,
yeah, they don't know how to close out games. That's
they don't. So I think
major thing I see
there. Maybe a possible third with the Panthers. So I think 7 is possible. I'm hoping 7. 7 would be great. great in my mind. With a first-year head coach, 7 would be absolutely fantastic. 500 would be nice, but you got the Seahawks, the Cowboys, and another one against the Saints. I don't know if that will happen, and then Kansas City could be our 8 right there, but I don't know. I think 7 is what the goal is for me. 7 would be absolutely perfect for me heading into the rest of the season.
Yeah. So guys, we ran through all this stuff pretty quick. I did want to take time to for the Chicago Bears game. And Terra, I'm going to start with you. Who would you give your game ball to? And just so the people listening, I gave the choices of Jameis Winston, Will Golston, Brent Grimes, Noah Spence, and I threw in Chris Conte because of that pick 6, the much maligned Chris Conte. So, Terra, who would you give that game ball to?
Am I allowed to write one in? I can pick off that list. But
but you can write one in, absolutely.
All right, I'm going to go Roberto Aguayo. If you're perfect, I know you're expected to be perfect. But hey, he was perfect. It was great. I was relieved. I was like, nobody can talk trash this week about him. He did his job.
That's right.
So
all right. So I'm gonna mark that down. So that's our guy. That's for you. That's okay. And I want to go to Mike. I want to go to you. And who's your game ball going to?
I gotta go with Jameis Winston. I really thought he took over that game in the second half. I thought the way he played behind that offensive line that wasn't giving him much help, lack of running game. I really thought he just took over. Those 2 plays to start the second half I thought was critical. That scramble play was probably the best play I've seen the Bucs have. I don't know. It's been a while. I mean, I think Jameis probably has our best 2 plays in the last 10 years. I mean, you go back to the Atlanta Falcons game last year where he had that scramble play here, just outstanding. But he pretty much took over the game, just the way his throws, he was throwing guys open, hitting guys in stride. Just a masterful game from Jameis Winston. And if he can continue that to these weeks, I mean, the Bucs are going to be in every game from here on out.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you guys remember the Bucs 10-win season with Josh Freeman. Raheem Morris was the head coach, and that year, every game that Josh Freeman was in, you always felt like the Bucs were in that game. Mm-hmm. You always felt they could stick around. They could potentially win that game. And that's kind of I'm not quite there yet, but that's where I'm getting with Jameis Winston because of what a competitor he is. That's kind of where I'm getting. And I'm going to go ahead and throw my game ball out there to Jameis Winston. That play, unfortunately, your ESPNs and some of your other stations aren't giving that play the love it deserves. But I'm going to tell you right now, that play was huge.
Oh, yeah.
And I go all the way back. I mean, I go Trent Dilfer. I'm looking all the way back, Steve DeBerg, some of the other quarterbacks that we've had in Tampa. And I can tell you right now, as a quarterback play, that has to be I can't think of another play that I would really put up there with that play. I don't know. Can you, Michael, in your time as a Bucs fan, can you think back to any other play?
Think of is maybe Sean King's. I mean, when he had that pitch back from Warwick Dunn and ran for, I think it was 25 yards against the Rams. But that was the only play I can think of. That was a big time play at the time. That was nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jameis, like I said, Jameis probably had the biggest 2 plays the last year and a half. That play against the Falcons. Yeah. I mean, and then this play.
Yeah, I was at that game. So that was exciting. Yeah, I would have to say right now, and hopefully some of the fans that are watching this can give me some feedback on this, but I think Jameis does have the top 2 plays in Bucs history. And I'm not saying it because I'm a big Jameis Winston fan. I'm just saying because I can't think back to any other offensive play that sticks out like those 2 plays did. And just his will to score was just like off the charts. So to me, Jameis Winston gets the game ball. I wanted to give it to Dirk Cutter because I like Dirk Cutter. I know a lot of people have not been happy with him. when this team loses. But as a first-year head coach, first-time coaching in the NFL, I think he's handled the press. I think he's handled situations. I think just overall in his progression as a head coach, I think he's done excellent, and I'm happy with him. And on that note, I do want fans to give this guy a chance. Stop calling for his head. Social media is the worst thing in the world, where you got fans that are impatient. This guy just got here as a head coach, and you're already trying to show him the door. That's ridiculous. And theoretically, as a head coach, it takes 3 to 4 years to get your program implemented to where it's successful. That includes, because you've got a lot of players that have been inherited from a former regime. So getting your guys in there and getting your scheme set up the way you want it doesn't come after one season or a half a season or 7 games or 8 games. It takes time to make that happen. So to me, I want to give that runner-up ball to Dirk Cutter, because I'm real happy with what he's done.
I am too. I completely agree with the rush to judgment. It's what's caused us to be in the state we are right now, because you gave Raheem Morris 2 or 3 years. You gave Greg Schiano almost 2 years. Then Lovie Smith, and I've already said on this podcast, and I've only been on it once before, that I did not agree with the Lovie Smith hiring, but you only gave him 2 years too. So, I mean, you just got to be patient, man. Patience is key when it comes to building a team. You see it in college. They call it the rebuilding years. Even though you only have players for at the max 4 years, you're still allowed these rebuilding years. It should be the same in the professional league. It should definitely be the same in the NFL.
Even more so in the professional league.
Exactly, because you'll have players for longer and you're able to develop your team even longer. So Dirk needs to be given time. If he's out within the next 3 years, I'm not going to be happy. It's going to be just a revisit of what we've seen the past 10 years. So
yeah, I hope that ownership is catching on to this, and they can say, hey, let's let this guy at least go through his contract, at least make it through his contract to see what he's capable of doing. I like his play calling at times. There have been other times, but, that's growing pains as a new head coach. Mm-hmm. I'm not making excuses, but it is what it is. I feel like this guy deserves a chance. I think he's got a good general manager, a good working relationship with a general manager that's a personnel general manager and not a numbers guy. Whereas, that's part of your job, but being a personnel guy is a huge part of your job in order to hit on the draft, in order to hit on free agency, and in order to keep the guys that you have to keep your team competitive. So I think all that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say, I completely agree. I mean, Cutter. I mean, what do you want Cutter to do? I mean, how do you expect him? I mean, you look at this roster. I think he's done an outstanding job. Given with the talent he has, especially from an offensive standpoint. I mean, you look at these other teams. I mean, let's take the Raiders for example. He's got Michael Crabtree, Amari Cooper, Michael Rivera. I mean, they're loaded. They got weapons. I mean, they have a great offensive line. Our offense is just not there yet. We thought, Vincent Jackson was gonna, that guy, but unfortunately he got hurt. We have Mike Evans, who's a star. Doug Martin got hurt. That hurt our offense. Young, they're just not there yet. And give this guy some time to bring in the pieces that he wants to bring in. Let Mike Smith bring in some guys that can run his defense the way he wants to run it, and allow us to build our depth. But you got to keep that consistency in there. You got to keep that stability. If you don't have stability in this league, I mean, you're going to just keep losing. I mean, just look at the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you're just going to be a constant turnover machine with personnel, coaches, quarterbacks. It's just going to be a mess.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Terra, you want to jump in here?
No, I mean, yeah, that's completely true. We are like the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the past 10 years have been like the Cleveland Browns. And so, but the consistency and the stability, I think, stayed this time because we promoted Cutter rather than go look for a head coach. So we had some stability stay. And so I was super happy about that. So, but yeah, I think I've talked as much as I can say on that subject. We all agree on it. Amen. Yeah.
And Gene, let me and to your game ball was Cutter. Let me let me give a game ball to Mike Smith. I thought he did a great job of adjusting his scheme to what our defense does best, and that's playing aggressive. He allowed Hargraves to, play press man, Grimes, just letting our guys go out there and play fast. And I think if he continues to do that, forget about mixing up coverages and all that, mixing up, this and that. Just let them go out there and play fast and let them go do their thing. Let the ball be in front of them and let them go attack it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't argue that. I think that's a great choice as well. That's another guy that's getting the business from Bucs fans. I've seen so many different posts about people wanting him fired. The guy just got here. I mean, the majority of the players on his defense are inherited. These aren't players that he said, let's draft this guy to fit my scheme. These are all guys that he's been handed. And so he's got to work with them. And I don't think that's even remotely fair to say, okay, this guy sucks. Let's get him out of here. He doesn't know how to play call. You know what? Give this guy a chance. Because I promise you, if he gets his guys in there with the schemes that he runs, based on what I saw at Jacksonville, I feel like this guy can be of benefit in years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me say one more thing. Levante David and Gerald McCoy, there's been talk of, I mean, shut up. Seriously. I mean, they're our two best players. They've been in like 4 to 5 different defenses the last couple of years. I mean, they're still trying to get out of bad habits from the last defenses. It takes time, people. I mean, give them some time in the same system, and you'll be surprised what they can do. I mean, Gerald McCoy is probably the best defensive tackle in this game. People want to get rid of Levante David because he doesn't make splash plays. Give me a freaking break. I mean, come on, watch the tape.
You know what? And those are people that don't watch football. They follow the ball on the field. Mm-hmm. They look on ESPN and see what play was made. They don't see the intangibles. There are, and that's a word we don't really get to use enough, and we should use more. Intangibles. Case in point, the Clint McDonald sack in the first quarter was Noah Spence played a big part in that sack happening, because had he not been where he was, Jay Cutler throws the ball and he gets the ball out quicker. But because Noah Spence is where he was and he's playing like he's supposed to, then Jay Cutler has to take the ball down, and by that time, Clint McDonald's in there for the sack. If you're watching the whole game, if you're watching the game evolve or just watching the game as it goes, you see little plays, you see little things that happen, and these guys don't get the credit they deserve. So, as fans, you can't just rush to judgment on this stuff. I mean, educate yourself on football. Educate yourself on, hey, don't just look at what the quarterback's doing. Take the time to ignore the quarterback. Look what your tight ends are doing. Look at the routes your receivers are running. Look at where your running backs are blocking. Look at where you have somebody just falling back and protecting the quarterback. There are so many different things that are going on in one play that you can't catch it all at once. So to say that somebody's a bad player, come on, they're in the NFL and they're starting. I mean, that says a lot, with the exception of EJ Biggers. But that's a whole nother show. But just watch the game. Watch the game as a whole. Don't watch where the ball is going, because there's so many things going on, and a lot of these guys don't get the credit they deserve. Intangibles. These are things that you can't put a statistic on, but these are things that these players do on a weekly basis that make them great players. Would you agree with that?
I mean, a lot of people look at the final stats. I mean, that's not how you look at the game. I mean,
not even close.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at who's making the plays. I mean, you go back to the Noah Spence strip sack. Levante David is the one who makes that play. He forces Cutler out of the pocket from inside pressure. Spence comes around the corner. The play's over. I mean, he just makes a great play. You got to look at that. I mean, great player. People look at his stats. Oh yeah, he's not making splash plays, not doing this, not doing that. But every game he's making a difference, allowing either freeing someone else up to make the play, or he's making the play himself.
Yeah, I heard some jerk talking about Brent Grimes should be bagging groceries. You know what? I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
He's the best person in the secondary right now by far.
The best.
Potential to be
I mean, why don't you take them bath salts and stop watching football? Because I just can't believe some of the things that people say, man. It
just happens to have second most pass defenses in the league. I mean, come on, people.
I think if we talk about Levante David specifically, and I know I still remember this, so of course I mean I'm still holding a part of it too, but people remember the Jets play, and they will always remember the Jets game, that hitting the quarterback once he was out of bounds. That's something that will be stuck in the mind. So when you remember that play, and then you look at the stats line, and you're like, what did he really do for us? And he cost us that game 3 years ago. Who is this kid, and why is he still on the team? And that's a mentality that I think some fans have, because people remember the negative. They will always remember the negative, unless if it's super positive, like a Super Bowl win. But so I think that's what they have in mind. Yeah. So if they didn't watch the game, or if they don't know how to watch the game, and then they remember that play, then you're going to be like, why is he still here?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Well, the fact that he went to a Pro Bowl, I mean that should totally erase that hit on Geno Smith, which to me is just heat of the game, and it happened.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how I look at it, and I don't feel like that Levante David gets the credit he deserves throughout the league. I know that people that play against him. I was on a NFC South time, and Levante David was the one guy that everybody remembered. Everybody was like, well, we got to keep an eye on Levante David. That's a guy that, he consistently played, and he's continually gotten better. So, I get what you're saying, but, fans, please don't jump out the window. The team is trending in the right direction. I think, what they've been able to do with the draft, Guy and Caleb Beninock, they were able to get him out on the field. That says a lot as well. I know he had some bad plays, but he kind of settled down as the game went on. I just think that the moves that Jason Licht is making, these are guys that I know he's missed on some, but these are guys that he has are able to contribute to the team. And that's what I'm really excited about. And that's what I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with him in the draft. When the draft comes around, I know Jason Licht, he's done his homework, he's got his guys, and they're gonna make some good picks. Or free agency. He has free reign on free agency, doesn't have to really consult like it was with Lovey being here. He's a guy that, he has the most say-so on a lot of the moves that are made. We saw an example of that with this year's free agents. I mean, the guys that he was able to bring in with Ayers, with Robinson, just the guys that he's able to bring in, and they are contributing to this team. So I'm just excited about administration, and Tampa is trading. Wow. No applause, no ovation.
You cut out.
I lost the last.
Oh,
yeah, I cut out at the last time.
Okay. But basically, what I was saying was that with Jason Licht, the moves that Jason Licht has made, I feel like I'm very comfortable with what he's doing moving forward. So I
touch on that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jason Licht is he's what this team has needed for years. I thought was just a guy, a guy that just wasn't ready. He was pretty much a suit. Yeah, he's great with numbers, great with the salary cap, but as far as picking talent, he didn't really know what to look for. Former football player, he's a former offensive lineman. He knows the game. He knows how to, find the guys in the trenches, find athletes, find, the right personnel for this team. And I think so far he's done a pretty damn good job of that. Finding guys, whether it's, Mike Evans, our first rounders, or finding guys like Kevin Panfield in the 5th round, who I think is probably our best offensive lineman this year. I think he's been outstanding. continue to find guys that can help us, whether it be offense or defense. And he's got a pretty good draft class coming up as far as needs. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been an hour, almost an hour. And I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Terra, I'm going to start with you. Let me get your final thoughts. Talking about the Bears, talking about the Chiefs. Let me get your final thoughts on everything, and then I'll go over to Michael.
Bears win was impressive. It should have been, they should have only gotten 3 points. It was the Hail Mary that got them their touchdown. So that's really impressive. And I don't think we mentioned that earlier, that's insanely impressive. And so, I'm excited about the Bears one. Actually, even though I just swore off betting on my team after the Raiders lost, I am a TA for a class, and my teacher is a Bears fan. So we bet a Coke on the game. So I got a Coke, and I played that Jameis Winston escape artist play for him at the beginning of class because I know that's what he wanted to see again. So, yeah, the Bears one was super impressive. And if we can continue looking that good against the Chiefs, if the turnover margin stays the same against the Chiefs, then I think we have a chance. So I think that's a big if, though.
All right, Michael, your thoughts.
Yeah, it was a great win against the Bears. It was a win we needed. I think, going into this Chiefs game, I think we're pretty much even as far as, I think we have the talent to compete with this team. I think it's going to come down to execution. It's going to come down to our coach's game plan. Andy Reid is a great coach. They have a great staff, so they're always going to be well prepared. So I think it's going to come down to execution, but I think we're going to have a chance. Like I said, this is a very weird 7-2 team. They feast off of turnovers. I think if we can protect the ball, run the football, keep third downs at a manageable distance, I think we have a great chance of winning. If we can win this week, you're 5-5. You're back at 500. Hey, every game becomes that much more important. And if we can have important games in December, I'm gonna be a happy camper. Just keep that next game important. Do that. Hell, let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah, there you go. All right, and for me, I want to thank both of you for being on. You guys are excellent. I really enjoyed you being on. Hopefully, I can coerce you into coming on again sometime. But fans, football is supposed to be fun. I know there are different kinds of fans. You have the homer like myself, who loves his team, and you really get frustrated when your team loses. Then you have the realistic fan who tries to nickel and dime everything that's wrong with the team, everything that should be done, and a pseudo general manager in a way. And then you have the other fans that are bandwagons. They jump on when so everybody's entitled to their view, but everybody should respect everybody else's view on things. And it's a shame that we can't all just enjoy the game and say, hey, I know my team's going to the playoffs and I expect my team to go to the playoffs. Even if it may not be realistic to some people, it's your team. It's your team. You're supposed to go out there and root for them and hope for the best. And I just would hope that football is supposed to be fun. Respect everybody else's opinion. Enjoy the game. Respect the players. But even more so, respect the team. Not the guy in the back, but the team itself. So those are my things. Enjoy the game. Enjoy being a Bucs fan. I know it's been rough these past few years, but we are trending in the right direction. Want everybody to have a great and safe weekend and enjoy the game. I'll be back again Wednesday. Hopefully I can get these two back on again. Who knows? We'll cross your fingers. We'll hope and see. But anyway, that's it for me. Everybody, show some love, peace, and I'm out.